morning, my viewers, the parents, the teachers, and anybody else who is listening and watching us. This is another Saturday for Easy Numbers. But as usual, as I said, in the holidays, we are going to do esoteric mathematics, the mathematics that governs the universe. Then when it comes to December, to January, we go back to classroom mathematics. Now, last weekend, I was talking about the Jesus number, and a lot of people have asked a little more about the numbers. Now, numbers are so many and the descriptions are long that we cannot finish them in this kind of session. But today I'm going to talk about one major rhythm that we find in this universe. And this rhythm is the rhythm we call the soul cycle. So if you have your pen and paper, I can give you the periods of this soul cycle, and then I'll describe just a little of one of those periods, and you see how it influences person. The soul cycle is a cycle that begins on 22nd March and goes all round the year until it ends on 21st March of the following year. Then it begins again. That is a soul cycle. It's a complete year. But it's different from our year because while our year begins in January, the soul cycle begins in March. And interestingly, the ancients saw that the soul cycle begins on 22nd March, and then the geographers or scientists have come to discover that at around 22nd March, the sun is always on the equator, the center of the universe. So, this is not just coincidence, it must be something by design. Let us look at the soul cycle and its periodicities. As I said, begins from 22nd March and goes all the way until another 21st of March, the following year, and then begin afresh. But it is divided into 7 periods. This number 7, I don't know why God chose to put his things into 7s. So each period is 52 days. And everybody is born in one of these periods. So take your pen and put down the periodicity of the soul cycle. The soul cycle is the first period, is the period between March 22nd and May 12th. I will repeat for you. I'll not write because of time. I want us to look at it a little more detail in the short time. So period 1 of the soul cycle begins 22nd March and goes to end on 12th of May. So know if you are born in that period, we shall talk about it. Period 2 of the soul cycle is the period that starts from May 13th and goes all the way to July 3rd. Period number 2 is May 13th all the way to July 3rd. These are 52 days. Then you come to period 3, a period that begins from July 4th and goes all the way to August 24th. July 4th to August 24th. All these are numbers I'm talking about. the numbers that govern this universe. Then period 4 is a period that begins from August 25th and goes all the way to October 15th. August 25th goes all the way to October 15th. Then period 5 is a period that begins on October 16th and goes all the way to December 6th. You see, these periods I'm mentioning, at least every one of us is born in one or the other period. You cannot escape any of these periods. You are born either in this period or in that period. Let us look at period 5, which starts on October 16th. And it goes all the way to December 6th. These are 52 days all the time, 52. And then, when we come to period 6, it's a period that begins from December 7th all the way to January 27th. December 7th all the way to January 27th. And the last period before the year ends again is the period 7, which begins from January 28th all the way to to March 21st. So just a day before the year begins again. So I told you this period begins always on 22nd March. And that is the year of the soul cycle. And what is the use of this soul cycle? The soul cycle is what controls the careers of people. I have said before that people just walk into any career and try to do it. It may not be your calling, because the vibrations that were blowing at the time when you dropped out of your mother's womb may be favorably influencing certain careers, and yet you don't know, and then you start going to contradictory careers and you start struggling in life. So those are the 7 periods of the soul cycle. Each one is 52 days. Let us describe just one of those periods. And I prefer to describe period 1 of the soul cycle. Now, this is the period that I've said begins on 22nd March and ends on 12th of May. If you are born in this period, listen to this. And parents, if you have children born in this period, listen to this so that you can properly guide your children. In schools, we have things called career counseling. But unfortunately, the counselors have no knowledge of the relationship between the child's birth date and what the child is destined to be in his future. So here is what these people of March 22nd and May 12th are. The people born on March 22nd and May 12th of any year inherit from the cosmic a very lofty nature with a deep-seated desire to achieve high place or a high position in the esteem of the public and in the hearts of their closest acquaintances. These are people who, straight away as they drop down, they are people who are breathing the air of great people, high positions. They carry over from previous incarnations the lessons and tribulations with which have taught them the necessity for looking above and beyond commonplace things of life and holding a vision of the highest ideals as their goals. Parent, you have this child, then know that you are having a great person in your home. A person who is born to be a great person. His position is very, very high out there. And so if you knew that, you would spend everything, every resource you have to bring up this child, because he's a shining star in your home. The child born between March 22nd and May 12th. Let's proceed. Now, they carry over from their previous incarnation the lessons and tribulations which have taught them the necessity for looking above and beyond the commonplace things of life and holding a vision of the highest ideals as their goals. They also carry into this life recollections of the experience of having achieved a notable place or position in life in some foreign land and having tasted of a full cup with many luxurious and beautiful things of earthly existence. Now here, it looks like we are talking about in other places this child has lived. And that's where the doctrine of reincarnation comes in. Well, while many religions have a belief that once you die you go to hell or you go to heaven, metaphysics knows that we live again, as old Lama said one day, that we live again. And that people will go and come back is even in the Bible. Jesus himself died and came back on the third day. He reincarnated. And even the Bible still promises the coming back of Jesus. That's again reincarnation. But because we do not know, we do not understand the actual meanings of these words, then we dismiss some of these very important meanings. So these people have lived in foreign lands before. They have been in high places before. And when they come into this incarnation, they look for the same high places. Therefore, in this incarnation, no matter in what station, socially, racially, or financially they may be, there is always an inner urge to try to live a noble life, or at least one that will be above the commonplace, and that will bring them the respect and perhaps the adoration of the multitudes. These are people who are born to be adored. They are the kings. They are the great kings that we see. These are the people at high offices, financial directors of the World Bank. Those are the people. And if you knew that your child was once such a child, then you would start nourishing the child as you nourish your milk cow, giving it the best Napier grass, the best cow feeds, because you know from this cow you will get the best milk. So this is a milk cow, 22nd March to 12th May. Parents look after these children. It doesn't matter whether the child is a teenager or is in his 20s, whatever age, look after this child. He will change your home like day and night. Now, there is not just the desire for wealth or the material luxuries of life. Although there is a taste for these things slightly beyond the average, but the great desire, the great longing that actuates these persons in their subjective thinking and planning is the attainment of public renown and public approval. For this reason, these persons reluctantly deal with sordid things and constantly struggle against things that are mean, lowly, or objectionable to good taste and high ethical standards. This means that if these persons are starting this incarnation or the lessons of this life in a lowly social or financial position, there is a continual restlessness and dissatisfaction that urges them onward, upward. It doesn't matter whether you are the poorest parent in the world, but you have gotten this child here. You will see the child struggling. You don't have soap, but the child will still go to bed with just water to keep himself or herself very clean. The child will not want to sit with other children that the child considers lowly. The child would want to associate himself with these higher upbringing fellows. And you can see that in your child back home. And so even if you are a poor parent, borrow, do anything to bring up this child. Never give up on this child. This could be a shining star in the home. Because it's a child whose vibrations, according to the soul cycle, is of that high position. Look after such children. Period 1 of the soul cycle. Born in March 22nd, all the way to May 12th. Let's look a little better. This means that if these persons are starting in incarnation or lessons of this life in a lowly social or financial position, there is a continual restlessness and dissatisfaction that urges them onwards and upwards. They always sense the nobility of their last life. They are generally trustworthy, for they have learned in the past that deceit, falsity, underhandedness, and unethical practice hold them back in progress they wish to make. So, for employers who are looking for trustworthy people, how I wish they just checked the birth date only. And these people born in March 22nd up to May 12th are very trustworthy. Their word is their word. They don't like lies. And you can check in your home if you have any. You will see that this is a child that will tell you straight away that, Mom, this is what so-and-so did. Because the child doesn't like deceit. The child is destined for honesty. If I was to employ accountants, these are the people I would employ. Ministers in the treasury, controlling our finances, the bank managers, governors of our central banks. We need straightforward people. And these are the people that we would employ in such positions. And there would be nothing like corruption as we are struggling with. So, corruption is rampant because we employ anybody anywhere without caring who suits which position. We are going for paper credentials, yet the natural credentials are there and nobody is using them. So, watch these people. Now, They always sense the nobility of their last life. And they are generally trustworthy, for they have learned in the past that deceit, falsely, underhandedness, and unethical practices hold them back in the progress they wish to make. Their words are generally their bonds. This is a person who tells you, come tomorrow, I will give you the 1,000 shillings you are looking for. And when you go tomorrow, you will be handed the 1,000 shillings. They are not people who are telling you, oh, come tomorrow, come next week, until a full year is gone, and again another one begins. Their words are their bonds. See the influence of 22nd March to 12th May. All those are numbers controlling the character of these people. Then let's proceed a little. There is, of course, the natural tendency carried over from the past to want to rule and dominate, and therefore be the heads or be the leaders of any plan, organization, or group of interests with which they may be connected. And in such capacities, they will succeed because of their inherent qualities. These are leaders. They are generally careful in the selection of their words and the use of language in writing, and have commanding personalities when they are allowed to develop properly. And you see, these are not people we have already set aside so much for this, and then there will be nothing for 2 years. You don't find them in this category. Not in this category. So such persons are usually affable among their peers, with perhaps a slight tendency to be impatient with those who do not aspire to rise. If you are not ready to rise, don't associate with these people. They won't allow you. Or who may be classed in their subconscious minds as the lowly serfs of a past kingdom. You can notice these people even in the classroom when other children are making noise. They are the ones telling them, you please keep quiet. We want to study. These are people who are busy doing what should be done. And they are telling these others, the noisemakers, to shut up. And then you start wondering what happens. And if I was a head of the school, these are the people I'll give to be prefects, because they'll do a good job. These are not the people who will allow meetings like, let us go and burn that dormitory. Not people in this periodicity. Not people in the first period of the soul cycle. They are honest, they are straightforward. Their words is their bonds. How I wish we knew all this, we would put the right people in the right places. And then we will be running the country so smoothly, with no confrontation. There will be a lot of cooperation. Let's look at them a little more. These persons can always be reached and appealed to through suggestions of sumptuousness and magnificence, and whatever may be honorable. They will succeed best in business matters wherein they may be managers. Give them managing, they are directors. Appoint them directors, they are the people. They will be controllers or overseers. They will be mayors. They will be governors or any high governmental officers or holders of important positions in the courts of law. You see, their design is also on law. These are the chief justices. These are the attorney generals. I wish the people who are doing career counseling could have this knowledge, then they would start off with what period of the soul cycle are you born? And they will direct the child in that direction. And the child will succeed very, very well. So these are people with a low faculty in their inheritance. In humble positions, they will succeed as sheriffs. They succeed as magistrates of small courts or executive positions of similar nature. They have an excellent preparation and faculty for the study of law. And in an artistic manner, they are fond of metals and working with metals, not as jewelers, but as designers and creators of beautiful and magnificent things of metal. Put these people in industries, in mining industries. These are people who love metal by nature. They will work very well with metal. They'll design very beautiful things out of metal. These are the people we need to have in that position. Parent, if you don't have this book, you don't know your children. You could be wasting a lot of your efforts. You could be losing the golden element in your home. Know your children and know yourself. Know the people you are employing, for what positions you are employing them. So, as a second choice, they would succeed as designers and creators of magnificent buildings, or arrangers of beautiful homes, or creators of beautiful costumes and articles of adornment. Architectures, you find them in this group. Beautiful homes. They are interior designers. Here is where they are. While they may learn a bit from the books, but they have a lot in their mind. They just think, if I do this, this thing will please people. How much are we losing because of ignorance? A lot of these boys you see wasting their time on border riding could have been very, very great people if they were directed to reach their destiny as nature dictates. We are wasting human resources because of ignorance. So it's important that we know what it is. Okay. The physical weaknesses which they have inherited in life are in affections of the heart and brain, perhaps through overwork mentally and tendency towards weakness of the eyes. So these are the people you should watch. Their hearts, their brains. Don't overload them. There are people who are going to suffer from heart diseases. There are people who are going to suffer from mental illnesses. So if they are informed of what they are, then they'll take precaution. Not overwork the brain, not overwork the heart. And doctors will have very little work to do. That is what metaphysics will teach you. So don't give them overwork. They will also have tendencies towards weakness of the eyes and towards the fevers. They will find joy. If they were to travel, they will find joy and recollection of familiar things from the past in traveling in such countries as Chaldea, Phoenicia, Italy, Sicily, Switzerland, and Scotland. You are a parent, you own this child, you want to take your child overseas for studies. The child will find a lot of happiness in these countries. Know where your child will enjoy. Don't throw your child where he won't enjoy. And that is how career advisors and parents should be trained. So there are usually two polarities, polarity A and polarity B of every soul cycle, which I'm not going into. All I want to say is that you are a parent. You may say you are too late to correct these things, but your children are still coming up. Know exactly where each one of your child belongs. And if you don't know where your child belongs, there is this small book, The Universe and Man, which will contain every detail of every child born in this country. Because in the soul circle, from 22nd March all the way to 21st March, there is no child who will not be born on any one of these days and therefore belong in some period of the soul circle. And I've only read one period, period 1. It doesn't mean that other periods are bad. For in each period, there are positive influences and also negative influences, both in careers, in health, and so on. By getting that small book, The Universe and Man, you can then have an introduction or an eye-opener to what you want to do. And then later on, if you want more details, for some reason, you don't know how to exactly calculate some cycles of your child, or yourself, or your business, or anything that you are doing, be it in marriage, be it in travel, be it in construction, anything you are doing, then you can just pick a phone and call me. And we can describe to you something very simple. You do not need to kneel down 24 hours with somebody holding over your shoulders that is praying for you. No amount of prayer can change the destiny on the law of cause and effect. No amount of prayer will save this person who is taking poison. The holiest Pope in the world is holding both his hands on your shoulders and praying 24 hours, while on the one side you are busy taking poison. By the end of the prayer, you will be dead. Because nothing is stronger than the forces of nature. And the forces of nature are created by God himself. And he said, this should be done like this. He gave direction. We cannot be so orderly in the universe and expect God not to be more orderly. It is common sense that you take a panga and cut the hand. You will cut it. It will drop down. And even God himself will not come to say, no, don't cut this hand. Don't. He can't. Why can't he? Because he created man in his own image and gave man a free will. You choose what you want to do and when to do it. But once you have done it, you must accept the results. The results are inherent in the laws of nature. You cannot be planting maize and expect to be reaping oranges. Once you have planted maize, that is the cause. The effect is maize itself. And it doesn't change on the law of cause and effect. We'll discuss all these laws with time later on. But I'm telling you that you can begin here. The universe and man. The mathematics of the universe. You see, I'm talking about period 1. 1 is mathematics. Period 2. 2 is mathematics. I'm talking about March 22nd. March is 22nd is mathematics. In the classroom mathematics, we would say somebody was born on March 22nd. How old was he in August 19th? So we're talking about all but numbers. Months are numbers, days are numbers, hours are numbers, minutes are numbers, and so on. So, parents and comrades, you are in any position and you want to get it right. Go with the direction. Don't just wake up and go. Go with the direction. Know when to do something and what to do at that time. Now I keep saying that farmers feed this country. But there are periods in life when you put down your crops, they germinate well, but then something happens, there are no yields. It could be this animal, the one they call the hippo, coming to graze on all your farm. Or there could be the fertilizer you're putting that is going to scorch all your crops. And you start saying that I did everything right. What went wrong? Timing, seasoning. Now I gave you a verse last weekend, Ecclesiastic. It is Ecclesiastic 3:1-8. There is time for everything. Go and read that. And once God says there is time for everything, then you must do everything in its time. And this is supposed to be the knowledge that we are receiving from churches. Unfortunately, we don't receive it. Most of the knowledge we receive in churches is a knowledge of scare. If you don't do this, God will burn you. You don't do this, God will burn you. God is not a sadist to create people and then to punish them. You always punish yourself. You stay hungry for more days than the digestive system can allow, then you die. God does not kill you. You have only broken His laws. His laws are that you must keep eating. At least in 12 hours, you must have found a meal. You decided to go 30, 40 days without a single glass of water. You'll die. Doesn't matter who is holding on your shoulder to pray. So, parents, colleagues, friends, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Get this knowledge studied by the ancients. And you know, we are dwarfs standing on the shoulders of the ancients. None of us in this century has discovered anything that is better than what the ancients did. So those who are the giants, we are dwarfs. We are using what they gave us. So because of time, I will only say, you want that small book, you call me on telephone number 0721 901 429. 0721 901 429. We'll let you know how to get that book. And also don't forget the classroom books on mathematics, physics, biology. Ask for them. They are available, especially in these holidays. Let your children learn more and more. Until next weekend, it's bye-bye from Dr. Kundu.